Welcome to My Therapist is Out. Each episode, we talk with a therapist from Open Space Therapy Collective or LGBT community members about mental health and building community. I'm your host, Renee Johnson, licensed therapist and founder of Open Space Therapy Collective, where we are your hub for queer and trans mental health care.
As we dive into today's topic, please keep in mind that this is a mental health podcast. We will talk about sensitive and difficult issues that are not appropriate for all audiences. Please take care while listening.
Welcome back to My Therapist is Out. I'm Renee, they, them, and so excited that you've come back for part 2 of our identity-based harm and community care episode. I have the honor of introducing Veronica Velazquez for today's podcast. This is a recording from the LA Queer Coalition's town hall this past fall, where we focused on how queer community can be allies to our immigrant community. Obviously, there's an overlap here. There are queer people who are also immigrants, but for the purposes of this town hall, we really focused on how those of us who aren't being targeted can show up and be support. Veronica Velazquez is a community activist and really stepped in to provide a workshop on how to be of support and be in action, and some really great steps, both education about what's going on and things you can actively do the second the workshop is over. So I'm going to pass it to Allie as Allie introduced Veronica during the town hall, and we will see you in the next episode.
Yeah. Are y'all ready for more workshops?
Yeah.
We want to learn and grow. Phenomenal. This is going to be the Allyship in Action workshop with Veronica Velazquez, the founder of Radcraft Design, specializing in usability, making stuff easy to use, and optimization, making things efficient to use. Veronica generally works in tech, designing software for apps, websites, and digital platforms. But earlier this year during the LA fires, Veronica learned she could also use the expertise to build effective mutual aid networks. Hell yeah. Since then, she's been actively creating information campaigns and organizing events to get the community engaged in environmental advocacy and mutual aid. As a Colombian American, Veronica sees and feels the threats her community faces firsthand. She recognizes the vital role of allyship in protecting immigrants and people of color. As a community organizer and activist, Veronica sees the urgency in this type of training to protect and support those most at risk. And now he's going to tell you some stuff. Yeah? Welcome!
Thank you everybody for being here. This is the part of the workshop where we learn how to be active in allyship. This is me. I am very much involved in the advocacy and allyship aspect of what's going on now. So much of what I do every day is looking at problems, understanding problems, studying problems, and figuring out how to optimize problems and create solutions. And so when looking at our current situation, I realized that there were two, what we call in tech, unfortunately, two user groups. There was And I'm sort of at an intersection of the two, because on the one hand, I'm watching everything that's happening as someone that is politically active, but also an empath, and I'm watching all these things in the news, and I'm watching on social media, and I'm also as a Hispanic person, watching my community getting ripped off the streets and loaded into cars, and their families pleading online because they don't know where they are, and there's so much fear. And as an empath looking at all of this and saying, what can I do? How do I fight this onslaught of insanity that's happening around me every single day? How do I get out of bed every day and not give up? And the reality is that there's a lot to do. And that gives me purpose, and that gives me a clear vision forward. But also it gives me hope. And so then there's the other group, the people that are directly affected. And I understand that group as well, because the fear that my parents could not come home. I grew up in Colombia in the 80s, during one of the most dangerous times in Colombia, if anybody has watched Narcos, which I personally hate, but to some degree it explains some of the history of my country. We left Colombia when I was a really little kid, I think I was in first grade, to come to the States where it was safer. My dad's an American citizen, my mom is Colombian. I am fortunate enough to hold both citizenships. But I move between two worlds. I am a Hispanic person, I am a Latina through and through. I also have spent most of my adult life in the States. And this is my country, and I love living here. And I know the American people are good and kind, and an ideal that I remember striving to be. And I still do. And so the other use group is not just the group that watches, but the group that fears. And that fears that my parents would not come home. I have felt that fear when I was a child. I feel that fear as an adult because I know how I have friends and I have people in my community, and I am brown. I walk in my skin every day. What happens if I get detained? What if I don't come home? And so it just so happens that these two groups have a similar solution, which is allyship. So this workshop is about action. Allyship is a verb, we keep repeating it because it's actions. It's not just feeling like you're an ally, it's how do I act as an ally? What do I do to be an ally? It is an active position. So, next slide please. So in order to talk about allyship, we have to talk about privilege. And in a good way. Privilege isn't about what you've gone through, it's about what you haven't had to go through. So, next slide please. I like to remind people that with privilege comes safety. And with safety comes rights. Allyship is when we use our privilege and our safety to help those at risk. U.S. citizens have a lot of rights. And even though everyone in this country is protected by the Constitution, as U.S. citizens, you kind of have this invisible shield, and you can say, actually, here are our rights. Because a lot of immigrants, when you feel afraid, tend to forget that we do have rights as well. But I'd like to think that as American citizens, you are the last line of defense that can stand between an injustice and say, actually, I do know about our Constitution. I have the constitutional right to witness what is going on. I have the constitutional right to record. I have the constitutional right to a lawyer. I don't have to give you information. And that is really powerful. And I encourage everyone to use this power. Because we have it. Our forefathers fought for it. People have died defending it. Sorry, one more. Yes, thank you. So I like to read this quote, which I think is also very powerful, which is, in a racist society, it is not enough to be non-racist. We have to be anti-racist. Again, it is an active stance, which is really important. This is about empowering all of you to show up every day and be consistent with allyship, because it is empowering. That is what gets me up in the morning. That is how I do not feel like I'm underneath a mountain of injustice. I have work to do today. And from today on, so do you. In a good way. So when assisting others, stay nonviolent. It's really important. Stay nonviolent. We don't want anyone to put themselves in danger. But don't be silent. And that is equally important. Next slide, please. So that brings us to this section, which is what you can do if you see someone being detained. And I think this is a really crucial point, because all of us are walking around the world just minding our business, but injustices are happening all around us. And with this information, you're going to have your eyes open a little bit wider. So you're going to notice things. And now you're going to have the tools to do something about it in a safe and effective way. So the first part is, when you see someone being detained or when you see ICE agents around, I recommend two things first. Grab a buddy, super important because it's better to do this with somebody. It's easier if you do this with somebody. And two, pick a task. So the way I like to remember this, so you know how Latinos, we can roll our R's, me llamo Veronica, right? So I thought the R is a good way to start this. So there's 4 tasks that you can do. Now, the reason why I say pick a task, yes, you can do everything, but it's a lot easier if you just choose one. So let's start with the first one, record. So next slide, please. So the first starters, when we talk about recording, we said this earlier, horizontal, go landscape mode. We don't need to see the sky, we don't need to see the floor, we need to see the periphery, we need to see the whole context. Really important, and just a parenthesis on recording. because there is no due process right now. They are just picking people off the street. They're not following legal forms. This is like a very much an improvised process by people that are not particularly skilled, qualified, or interested in doing this the traditional way. These are new systems that are being put in place every single day. Recording is the last opportunity to capture what is happening. When we learn about history, the way we know about history is because of the records that were left of what occurred. Many times, a lot of this information gets put to the side, it gets destroyed, it doesn't get recorded. So you recording is essential. By recording and narrating what's happening. So like we were saying before, like, I am here at Home Depot, it is Tuesday, 3 p.m. There are X amount of agents, there are street vendors on the street right now. They're asking us to step back. I am stepping back. So make sure that you narrate the actions, not only that you're taking, but that the agents are doing. Because these types of recordings, this record of what occurred, is sometimes the only recourse that the family has to go look for their missing person. When someone gets taken off the streets, if no one knows that they were taken off the streets, no one knows where to look for them. So recording is essential. I cannot stress this enough. And also it's a constitutional right. You can witness this, and you can record it. They can tell you that you should put your phone down and you can record it. Sorry, I have a constitutional right to do this. So be armed with knowledge. You have rights. Sorry, stay on that. Thank you. Make sure that you keep a safe distance. We talked about this, more than an arm's length. You want to make sure that agents cannot grab you, that they cannot push you. Make sure that there are no agents behind you that can say that you were obstructing. This is really important. We want to make sure that keep you safe as well. Record date, time, location, and number of agents. Really important. This will make sense later. Also, and this is I want to highlight this. When you record these instances, make sure that you do not post it online without the family or lawyer's consent. If you must post it, say something really extraordinary happened and you want to make sure that the world knows, make sure that you blur out the faces of the people being detained and those that help them. We don't want to blast anybody online. So that's an important notice. Sorry, next slide, please, thank you. Report. So, and this is why I say it's better to have a buddy. So while you're recording, you're not going to have time to call and report, right? You want to be recording the whole time. So this is where having a buddy is really helpful. Like, hey, can you help me? Can you call this number? So in our workshop, part of this, that table in the back, we have QR codes and we have whistles. There's little QR codes on there that I encourage you to take one and put it on your phone or put it on your keychain somewhere where you can see it, so that while you're recording, you can tell someone, hey, you see this QR code right here on the back of my phone? Scan it, that's going to give you a website, there's a number right there. So you're going to see, and also, actually next slide please. Sorry, I have to report. Cheerless rapid response number is right there. So if you can memorize that number, even better, because then you can dictate it to someone to call while you're recording, right? They also have a rapid response form. All of that's going to be on the website, icescream.org, all one word. But it's important that while you're recording, you can give that number to somebody else to call. Because the sooner you call, the sooner rapid response teams can send someone over. So you want to give them as much time as possible. So while you're recording, or you can tell someone else to record and you call. Important information to give them: location, time, number of agents, vehicles, and context. What is happening? Are they being violent? Are they just arriving? Are they asking questions? How many vehicles do they have? What are their uniforms? Is there local police or just agents? Clarity of details, all of that. Like, just make sure, think that you're giving them all the information necessary. That means that you have to retain the information when you call them, or have good eyes on what's happening. Next slide, please. Okay, retain. Retain means, next slide. Retain the detainee's information. So just as important as recording what's going on is providing assistance to the person being detained. So you want to make sure that you ask them their name, their date of birth, and a contact number. Especially if they're getting thrown into a car, ask them Who can you call? Even a social media handle, or where do they work? That is helpful, because at least it gives you some anchor to start looking for their relatives. So if you are not familiar, most people in this country have a little bit of bilingual, like most immigrants in this country know a little bit of English, but many don't still. So here's some Spanish words. So the first question is, ¿cuál es tu nombre? Tu nombre, your name. So if you can't remember the whole sentence, just remember tu nombre, right? Tu nombre, dame tu nombre. That's one. Tu cumpleaños, your birthday. When were you born? Tu cumpleaños, if you can't remember the word, think of the song. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. So, cumpleaños, when's your birthday? And number 3, ¿cómo contacto a tu familia? Again, if you must remember 2 words, contacto, like contact, tu familia, your family. ¿Cómo contacto a tu familia? Instagram, Facebook. Say Instagram with a Spanish accent, even better. So you want to make sure that you give that person the opportunity, and I recommend to record this. Don't write it down, don't try to memorize it, get your phone and record it for accuracy. You want to make sure that you don't miss any detail, because you might be the last person that person speaks to before they're sent away. So your record is going to be what their family has to know if it was them, where they were taken, and what happened. Next slide, please. Remain. This is really important. When something happens, it's not just important to be at the location recording and retaining information, but to also remain there after the fact. A lot goes on after these incidents. So number 1 is you want to remain in location after the fact, waiting for the response team to show up, or the person's family. You want to make sure that you help protect the detainees' property, so their cars, if it's street vendors, their stalls. We, on the west side, saw that ICE had been hitting the Home Depots, and there was like video of all of the gas stoves from the taco carts, and the street vendors were still on. They had taken everyone, and all of their equipment was just running. So it's up to the person, ideally, this is a way you can make a huge difference for someone, is if you help them preserve their equipment, because that's their family's livelihood. And if someone is taken, they're going to need that livelihood now more than ever. So if you can stay after the fact and help look out for the property, look out for their cars. Sometimes ICE agents come and they have tow trucks. So if you can take a photo of the car and their license plate, as well as get a card from the tow truck, so that you can give it to the family, say, hey, they took your car to this impound lot. You want to give them as much information as possible so that they can get this person back, they can get their property back, they can, their stuff doesn't just get disappeared or tossed away or burned to the ground. And at the same time, at the end of this, because all the chaos has happened, you have a little extra time, this is a great time to fill out the activity report if you want. I also recommend recording yourself, explaining what happened while it's still fresh in your mind. We lose a lot of details the more that time goes by and the more that we retell it. So if you could record yourself sort of explaining what you just witnessed so that you have it fresh and clear, it's a great time to take photos of what happened, if things were broken on the ground, if they took anything, if there's blood, all of that stuff. It's important to record at that moment. Take photos, but more importantly, record your account while it's still fresh. And right there is a QR code for an activity report that you can fill out. It's a great time. Sometimes I can't talk on the phone if there's too much going on, so it's easier to just fill it out, It's helpful. There's going to be a website with all of this information there, but that's a QR code where you can fill it out. Next one, please. So this is a good slide if you want to take a photo of this. It's on the website as well, but the 4 things to remember are record, report, retain, remain. 4 R's. And if you can't remember them, just remember record everything. If you can get someone else to report it while you're recording, that's really helpful. And just stay after the fact. There's more that goes on when they take someone away. Be there for their family. You can relay the story of what happened to someone when their loved one is taken away. They're going to want to know, who was here? What happened to them? You can say that. You can give them the video that will be the evidence. That's also incredibly important. Give them all of the materials that you have so that they can begin the process. Next one, please. Okay, so this website, while I design a lot of stuff for tech, I don't necessarily build stuff for tech, but I made a 1-pager with all of the information that you need. If you scan, we have a bunch of little QR codes in the back, and a big one that says helpful links. This website is both in English and in Spanish. There's a pink top with a green button. You can switch language, and it basically has the emergency numbers that you can call on the top red one. Then there's the report that you can fill out in the middle, and flyers that you can download. We're going to talk about flyers in a minute. And below that is the 4 R's of how to help, and below that, 3 steps of things that you can do at home to help protect your family. So for example, I'm just going to make it really brief because that's going to be on our more actual part of the workshop, but 3 things that people should be doing at home. Immigrant families and anyone brown, anyone that feels that they could be in any sort of threat or danger, it's important to memorize emergency contact numbers. We should all have the rapid response number memorized and an emergency contact number. Who would you call if you're in trouble? Who would you call if you're detained? Does your family have someone that would know what to do? It's important to think about these things before you actually need to think about these things. So memorize emergency contact numbers. Make photocopies of everyone's IDs in your household. So do you have a recent photo of your loved ones? That's really important. Do you have copies of their ID and any immigration information so that if they're missing, you know how to access that information? That's really important to have at home. And lastly, make a plan. And this applies not just for your family, but if you know someone in your neighborhood that has kids or has pets or takes care of an elderly person and they might be immigrants, talk to them. Do they have someone to pick up their kids in case they get stopped on the street? Is there someone to walk their pets? Like that kind of stuff, we really have to think about it. It's the importance of community right now where we have to look out for each other. Not just if you're in danger, but as allies, you can offer to say, hey, I noticed you have kids and pets. If you ever, can't make it home for whatever reason, I'm not pointing anything out, for whatever reason, just let me know, and I'll figure out how we can take care of them. Open doors. You'd be surprised how many people are under a lot of stress, and this kind of stuff is really helpful to know that there are people on the other side that also want to help them. It's not just the onslaught of terrible people trying to cause harm, but actually good, kind people like yourselves and all of the allies that want to show up and want to do something to help. It goes a very long way. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have flyers, and we talked about the flyers. In the mornings when we go walk our dog, we've been going through parks and construction sites, and if I see a gardener somewhere, or if I see nannies walking about, I give the flyers with information. And I have information in English and in Spanish. I like to think that the English one is for us allies to spread amongst ourselves so that we know. The Spanish one is for people to spread among their families and their elderly neighbors and their friends and anyone that might feel more comfortable reading information in Spanish. I'm very dyslexic, so I do. So on one side is 3 important things to do at home, which we just went over, and the flyers have the information. And the other one is 4 safe ways of assisting when someone's being detained, which we also went over. But giving this information out is really helpful, especially to Hispanic people right now, because it lets them know that someone's looking out. So the way I approach someone, and my boyfriend can attest to this, I hate talking to strangers. I get confrontation anxiety. I have lots of social anxiety, so it's been really difficult for me to learn how to approach strangers, but I've kind of been working through it. And the first thing I do is I say, hey, I have some information for you in case you see someone being detained. I'm not going to say, hi, I profiled you because you were brown and I thought maybe you're here illegally and I think some things you should do prepare. Never go out that way. I instead go about it hey, I'm just giving out some information about what to do if you see someone being detained. Here's some 4 steps, the way you can help them safely, and also some numbers at the bottom that you can call for rapid assistance. And then on the other side is stuff you can do at home in case you feel you need to. That's it. Really simple. Just approach it that way and you'd be surprised. We have met so many people in our community through this process. We go to the local restaurants, we go to our local coffee shops, we walk around the neighborhood, other dog owners. We've been giving this information to everyone that wants to hear it. And you would be amazed the way people's demeanor immediately changes. They're like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. It fills my cup every day and it helps them know that there are people looking out for them, and here's something actionable that they can do to feel safer. And that goes a very long way right now. We're all carrying a lot of weight on our shoulders, and these little moments of brightness and community make a big difference. Next one. Educate your friends and start a neighborhood support crew. Go to car washes, Home Depots. We have a whole crew of people that go to Home Depots and help keep watch. That's what these whistles are about. The way the whistles work. and it doesn't have to apply to Home Depot, you can apply it anywhere, is intermittent. If you see an agent walking about, and I go about like all the street vendors on the street and I give them this whistle and some information, which is, if you see an ICE agent, do an intermittent whistle. So beep, 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 beep. That immediately calls everyone's attention. We are all wired to listen to the sound of a whistle and immediately look for like authority. Even if you have nothing to fear, this is just how we're wired. It comes from gym class. So intermittent is ICE agents are in the area. If you're actually actively doing stuff and grabbing people, long sustained whistle. The reason for that is you're calling attention and it's a lot more urgent. What you do immediately after, in either case, is you say, there are agents in the area. You don't have to say the ICE word. You can just say there's agents in the area. Please get in your cars. Please close your doors. Do not open your doors. You have the right to remain silent, but maybe just go somewhere else. There are agents in the area. Go somewhere else for safety. And follow again with whistling. The idea is to get people's attention and give them the information. And also these are very, very loud. Do not try them indoors, but I highly recommend trying them outside. Go to local convenience stores, restaurants, share the information that you have. Like, we love going to our local shops and just being like, hey, you know, I have some information for you. Give them the flyers, give them a whistle, give them the information that you have, and talk to them. Open the doors to your community. We will get through this as a community. There's so much power in that. Like, I cannot stress this enough. You're surrounded by people that care, people that are scared, and you can really like change the world around you. You'd be surprised. This is like really powerful work that we get to do here. And check on your neighbors. Like I said before, if you know someone that has elderly parents, or like if you see, you know, someone walking their dog every day, or if you live next to people, like just say hi and like talk to them. And you'd be surprised like how many things we learn about our community. So please. Support immigrants at their place of work. So food trucks, car washes, fruit carts, flower vendors, housekeepers, nannies at the park, mechanics, restaurant employees, they're all vulnerable right now. Agents are just rolling up to places. If you're a street vendor, you don't even have like the possibility to have like warrant or close the doors or private, you know, no entry signs. Like, you're just on the street. So they're really vulnerable. So I highly encourage you to smile at them when you go pick up your coffee, say hi, engage. A lot of people, like I said before, are carrying a lot of stress and anxiety, and they're still showing up to work, even though it's dangerous. Just kindness from a stranger makes all the difference. Next one, please. Offer to run errands, help deliver meals, and for people at risk. Like, a lot of people are not leaving their homes. I've talked to a lot of people that say that their parents are afraid to leave the house. Their parents are afraid to go to groceries. Like, I met this girl, she was like, I have to buy food and vegetable for my family now, and my mom always did it. I don't know how to pick avocados. Everyone is mad at me. I've never had to do it before. She's like, this is what I have to do now because she won't leave the house. And so, like, just being able to, like, and you don't have to pick avocados, but I'm just saying, like, you know, offer to do groceries or offer to accompany them. I know that I, as a brown person that has all my shit in order, I still get nervous about going outside by myself. So I asked Justin to come with me. When he's traveling, I ask other friends to accompany me so that I don't have to walk alone. So just offering your friends, like, hey, you want to go walk your dog with me? Or can I accompany you to do some errands? Like, reach out. As an ally, it's really impactful when someone like offers to help you. So I highly encourage you to do it. You can ask if you want to pick up their kids. I'm not a kid person, so I'm probably not going to offer that. But you know, that's your thing. Please do. You can offer to deliver food. Just surprise someone with a dinner treat, or offer to walk their dog. Whatever you can do to alleviate them having to go outside and facing all of this on their own is great. Next slide, please. Volunteer your time with mutual aid groups and nonprofits that are helping immigrants and their families. There's a whole list on the one-page website of places where you can donate and volunteer. I highly encourage you to do this. These are organizations that are making a huge difference, and they're working with zero government support. So this is a time to offer your time. I used to be very hesitant about donating to things. I do from time to time, but I like to donate my time because it feels like I can do something with my hands and with my person, and it feels like I can be active. That's a great way to volunteer as well and make a huge difference. LA Taco has a great list of orgs. And I also want to highlight Chirla. Winston gave us an incredible presentation earlier. They are at the forefront of defending human rights and giving people information that is actionable and useful. It's great to support them with donations and with volunteering. They always need people to do all kinds of stuff. The One Pager website has all these really incredible organizations that are doing amazing work, from advocacy to protests to canvassing to bringing meals. I think that's a really important one, where they're just, bringing meals to families that might not be able to work full time or are afraid to leave. So there's so many different ways to help. Next one, please. So again, you can be the difference between a family being able to track their loved ones or losing them in silence. So this is incredibly powerful what you can do and the impact that you can have in someone's life and their family. Next one, please. So how do we move forward? I'm going to try to get through this slide. I hope you come away from this feeling empowered to help. I hope you see, I hope you use what you've learned to help others. I hope you share this information. I hope you keep showing up. I can tell you, allyship is a light when everything else feels dark and scary. You being here represents hope for a brighter future for immigrants in this country. Both as someone that receives a lot of help from my community and like I like to say, I don't want to give up the keys to the castle that easy. So everything that we do is helping keep up the walls, is helping protect the castle. You're making a huge impact, and you can have.
Love you, V.
You can make a difference. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Devin. My pronouns are he and they. And a moment of queer joy that I've experienced is I got to hang out with all of my friends at this awesome event, and I got to just hug everybody. And I love a hug. So it was a great moment.
Hi, I'm Michael. My pronouns are he, him, and a queer moment of joy is these bubbles happening right now. That's a queer moment of joy.
Thanks for joining us. If you're in California and looking for a therapist, visit our website at openspacetherapycollective.com and book a free intro call with one of our therapists. If you're enjoying My Therapist Is Out, please rate, review, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Do you know somebody who could use a little extra dose of queer community? Send them one of your favorite episodes of My Therapist Is Out and help our collective grow one listen at a time. My Therapist Is Out is an open space therapy collective podcast, and our podcast editing is done by Rachel Peltzer and Smash and Grab Studio. We'd love to hear from you about today's topic, so email us at info@openspacetherapycollective.com. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Open Space Therapy Collective. Thanks for listening.